Welcome to Dragon Horde Gaming, and in today's video we'll be opening up Strixhaven Draft Booster. Currently opening this in store, so apologize for any background noise. Alright. Open that up, and there we go. I'll be putting my commons. Alright, first pack. Okay, that's weird. Oh, it's going to be one of those, yeah, placeholder cards.
That's broken. I need that.
Alright, and lesson, uncommons, and our rare is a Necroblossom Snarl. When it enters battlefield, reveal a swamp or forest from your hand. If you don't, it enters tapped. Taps black and red green. Snakeskin Veil.
John, we're going to have a worthy opponent for your sack deck. They sure will be fighting the pest.
Alright. Let's get ahead to the lesson. Common lesson. Uncommons. And a Shrine Shadow Snarl. Okay. And it's enters battlefield. You reveal a plains or swamp from your hand. If you don't, it enters tap. Taps for white and black. Eliminate. That. Archive card. Alright. Lesson. And a rare is Unvalda, Dean of Perfection, and Nasiri, Dean of Expression. Alright. Pay 2 generic and a blue. Tap it. You may exile an instant sorcery card from your hand and put 3 hone counters on it. It gains at the beginning of your upkeep. If this card is exiled, remove a hone counter from it. When the last hone counter is removed from that card, if it's exiled, you may cast it. It costs 4 less to cast this way. Okay. This one side costs 5. 3 generic, 2 red. At the beginning of your upkeep, exile the top card of each opponent's library. Until end of turn, you may cast spells among them, the exile cards, and you may spend mana as low as mana of any color to cast those spells. If you cast a spell from exile, put a 1/1 counter on Nasiri, Dean of Expression. Divine Gambit. Alright. Go to the lesson. And our rare is Archmage Emeritus. Cost 4, 2 generic, 2 blue. Magecraft, whenever you cast a copy of an instant sorcery spell, draw a card. And we have a Putrefy, which costs 3, a generic, black and a green. Destroy target artifact or creature. It can't be regenerated. Alright. Lesson. And a rare is Mila, Crafty Companion, and Luca, Wayward Bound Bonder. Alright, I was hoping to pull this one too. Costs 3, a generic and 2 white. Whenever an opponent attacks one or more planeswalkers you control, put a loyalty counter on each planeswalker you control. Whenever a permanent you control becomes the target of a spell or ability an opponent controls, you may draw a card. Luca costs 6 for generic and 2 red. 1/1 loyalty. You may discard a card. If you do, draw a card. If a creature card was discarded this way, draw 2 cards instead. -2 loyalty, return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. It gains haste. Exile it at the beginning of your next upkeep. -7, you get an emblem with Whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, it deals damage equal to its power to any target. Agonizing Remorse. Alright, my hands are starting to sweat. Not good with cardboard. Alright. There's the lesson. It's common, uncommons. Rare is Lorehold Command. Costs 5, 3 generic red and white. Choose 2, create a 3/2 red-white spirit creature token. Creatures you control get +1/+0 and gain indestructible and haste until end of turn. Lorehold Command deals 3 damage to any target. Target player gains 3 life. Sacrifice a permanent, then draw 2 cards. Snakeskin Veil. And a foil Lorehold Pledge Mage. First foil. There's the lesson. And a Torrent Sculptor. Costs 4, 2 generic and 2 blue. Oh, and the back is Flamethrower Sonata. It's got Ward 2. When Torrent Sculptor enters the battlefield, exile an instant sorcery card from your graveyard. Put a number of 1/1 counters on Torrent Sculptor equal to half the card's mana value. Rounded up. Flamethrower Sonata costs 2, generic and a red. Discard a card, then draw a card. When you discard an instant sorcery card this way, it deals damage equal to that card's mana value to target creature or planeswalker you don't control. Through possibilities. Alright. There's the lessons, common. And a rare is Devastating Mastery. Cost 6, 2 generic and 4 white. You may pay 2 generic and 2 white rather than pay this spell's mana cost. If 2 generic and 2 white cost was paid, an opponent chooses up to 2 non-land permanents they control and returns them to their owner's hand. Destroy all non-land permanents. Opt. There's the lesson, common. And a rare is Sedgemoor Witch. Costs 3, 2 generic and a black. Menace, ward, pay 3 life. Magecraft, when you cast or copy an instant sorcery spell, create a 1/1 black and green pest creature token with when this creature dies, you gain 1 life. Claim the Firstborn. Collector boosters. Academic Probation. Cost 2, generic and a white. Choose 1. Choose a non-land card name. Opponents can't cast spells with the chosen name until your next turn. Choose target non-land permanent until your next turn. It can attack or block, or its activated abilities can't be activated. And its activated abilities can't be activated. Okay. And a rare is Rushed Rebirth. Cost 2, black and a green. Choose target creature. When that creature dies this turn, search your library for a creature card with lesser mana value. Put it into the battlefield, tapped, then shuffle. Duress. And a foil Prismari Campus. Alright. And a rare is Civil Quill Silencer. Cost 2, a white and a black. As it enters the battlefield, choose an online card name. Whenever an opponent casts a spell with the chosen name, they lose 3 life and you draw a card. Doomblade. Cost 2, generic and a black. Destroy target non-black creature.
guy was just like, so you get like a pallet jacket and stuff. This is maybe put by your board, but that was neat. I was like, oh, okay. Thanks, I guess.
And there's the lesson. Rare is a Professor Onyx. We got another one of the Planeswalkers. Awesome. Cost 6, 4 generic and 2 black. Magecraft, whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, each opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. Plus 1 loyalty. You lose 1 life, look at the top 3 cards of your library, put one of them in your hand and the rest in your graveyard. Minus 3, each opponent sacrifices a creature with the greatest power among creatures that player controls. Minus 8, each opponent may discard a card. If they don't, they lose 3 life. Repeat this process 6 more times. Another mythic, Increasing Vengeance. Costs 2 red. Copy target instant or sorcery spell you control. If the spell was cast from a graveyard, copy that spell twice instead. You may choose new targets for the copy. Flashback for 5, 3 generic, and 2 red. Alright. There's the lesson. Common. And a rare is Demogoth Titan. Cost 4, hybrid, green, black. Whenever Demogoth Titan attacks or blocks, sacrifice a creature. It's a 11/10. Shock. And a foil symmetry sage. Alright, we got a Illuminate History, discarding number, cost 4, 2 generic and 2 red, discarding number of cards, then draw that many cards, then if there are 7 or more cards in your graveyard, create a 3/2 red-white spirit creature token. And we got a screw this, whatever that name is. It costs X and a blue and a red. Exile the top X cards of your library. For each land card exile this way, create a treasure token. For each blue card exile this way, draw a card. For each red card exile this way, Cumulative Studies deals 1 damage to each opponent. Village Rites and foil Zephyr Boots. Alright. Lesson. Start from scratch. Tempted by the Orc. Cost 4, a generic and 3 blue. For each opponent, gain control up to 1 target creature or planeswalker that player controls with mana value 3 or less. Weather the Storm and a foil Whirlwind Denial.
They're like $3, but are they really? Yesterday they were.
Yeah, let's just put it over here. Alright. And a rare is Selfless Glyph Weaver. Costs 3, 2 generic and a white. Exile Selfless Glyph Weaver. Creatures you control gain indestructible until end of turn. On the back is Deadly Vanity. Costs 8, 5 generic and 3 black. Choose a creature or planeswalker, then destroy all other creatures and planeswalkers. Electrolyzer. Costs 3, generic white, blue, and a red. Deals 2 damage. Divide as you choose among 1 or 2 targets. Draw a card. Strict Proctor. Costs 2, generic and white. Flying. Whenever a permanent enters the battlefield, causes a triggered ability to Trigger, counter that ability unless its controller pays 2. Cultivate.
Honestly, though, there's no one here. If you want to just walk out.
And a rare is Velatine, Dean of the Vein, costs 1 black. It's menace and lifelink. If a non-token creature your opponent controls dies, exile it instead. If you do, you may pay 2. If you do, create a 1/1 black-green pest creature token with when this creature dies, you gain 1 life. And then on the other side is Lista, Dean of the Root, costs 4, 2 generic and 2 green. Whenever you gain life, you may pay 1. If you do, put a 1 counter on each creature you control, and those creatures gain trample until end of turn. Memory Lapse, cost 2, generic and a blue. Counter target spell. If that spell is countered this way, put it on top of its own library instead of into that player's graveyard. Way weird to kind of say that. Arcane Subtraction. Alright. This. Listen. This. And a Manifestation Sage. Cost 4. Hybrid green-blue. When Manifestation Sage enters the battlefield, create a 0/0 green-blue fractal creature token. Put X 1/1 counters on it, where X is the number of cards in your hand. Negate. Alright.
Going for a meme. So I'm building a pest deck, and we keep finding
Lesson.
pest decks, so we're gonna make the pest deck foil. All foil pests.
Fervent Mastery, cost 5, 3 generic and 2 red. You may pay 2 generic and 2 red, and rather than pay this spell's mana cost. If the 2 generic and 2 red cost was paid, an opponent discards any number of cards and draws that many cards. Search your library for up to 3 cards, put them into your hand, shuffle, then discard 3 cards at random. Tendrils of Agony, cost 4, 2 generic and 2 black. Target player loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. Thrilling Discovery, foil. Alright.
Alright, let's take a guess, guys. How much do you think full blood are?
Lesson. And a Poet's Quill, cost 2. A generic and a black. When it enters the battlefield, learn. Equipped creature gets +1/+1, has lifelink. Equipped for 2, it's generic and a black. Swords to Plowshares, cost 1 white, and exile target creature, its controller gains life equal to its power. Alright.
Yeah, like, I didn't think Intuition should be an expensive card. Almost do a free box again.
Leon Lightscribe, cost 2, generic and white. Magecraft, whenever you cast a copy instant or sorcery spell, creature you control get +1/+1 until end of turn. And a Teferi's Protection, cost 3, 2 generic and white. Until your next turn, your life total can't change, and you gain protection from everything. All permanents you control phase out. Exile Teferi's Protection. Alright. This has been a very good box so far. And we got an Elemental Expressionist. Costs 4, hybrid blue-red. Whenever you cast or copy an instant sorcery spell, choose target creature you control until end of turn. It gains if this creature would leave the battlefield, exile it instead of putting it anywhere else. And when you exile this creature, create a 4/4 blue-red elemental creature token. Infuriate. Oh my! Foil Professor Onyx extended art. Wow. Wow. 2 Professor Onyxes in this box, and 1 being foil extended art. That is amazing. Alright. Wow. So, there's 3 Planeswalkers in this box. Cool. Alright. And then... that was the lesson. Elite Spellbinder. Cost 3, 2 generic and a white. When it has flying, when it enters the battlefield, look at target opponent's hand. You may exile a non-land card from it. As long as that card remains exiled, its owner may play it. A spell cast this way costs 2 more to cast. Defiant Strike. Wow. That is the second foil Liliana I've ever pulled. First one being the Last Hope. Verdant Mastery. Cost 6, 5 generic and a green. You may pay 3 generic and a green rather than pay this spell's mana cost. Search your library for up to 4 basic land cards and reveal them. Put 1 of them into the battlefield tapped under an opponent's control. If the 3 generic and a green was paid, put 2 of them into the battlefield tapped under your control and the rest into your hand, then shuffle. Opt. And a foil eliminate. I think I fixed the problem where my camera was focusing on things, so... although it's a little awkward because there's a yellow circle on my screen here watching this, so... but I hope you guys aren't seeing that in the recording. And another mythic, Horfey Ghost Forge. Costs 5, 3 generic, a red and white. Spiritual control, get +1/+1, have trample and haste. Wherever another non-token creature you control dies, exile it. If you do, create a token that's a copy of that creature, except it's a spirit in addition to its other types, and it has, when this creature leaves the battlefield, return the exiled card to your graveyard. Adventurous Impulse. Alright. Alright. There's the lessons, common. And a rare is Hall of Oracles. Taps for colorless. Pay 1, tap it, add 1 mana of any color. Tap it, put a counter on target creature, activate only as a sorcery and only if you cast an instant or sorcery spell this turn. Divine Gambit. Oh, yeah, that was a mythic, so it goes over in the mythic pile. Alright, and a Curate. Foil. Alright. And there's the lesson. And a rare is Draconic Intervention. Costs 4, 2 generic and 2 red. Has an additional cost to cast a spell. Exile an instant sorcery card from your graveyard. Draconic Intervention deals X damage to each non-dragon creature where X is the exiled card's mana value. If a creature dealt damage this way would die, this turn exile instead. Exile Draconic Intervention. God's Willing. 1 white. Target creature control gains protection of the color of your choice until end of turn. Scry 1. Alright. There's the lesson. And a rare is Rushed Rebirth, which we already went over that one already, so we don't have to do it again. Lightning Bolt, 1 red, and Lightning Bolt deals 3 damage to any target. Alright. There's the lesson. And we got an Augmenter Pugilus. Costs 3, generic and 2 green, trample. As long as you control 8 or more lands, it gets +5/+5. And on the back is Echoing Equation. Cost 5, 3 generic, 2 blue. Choose target creature you control. Each other creature you control becomes a copy of it until end of turn, except those creatures aren't legendary, and if the chosen creature aren't legendary, if the chosen creature is legendary. Claim the Firstborn. And we got a Manifestation Sage again. Already went over that. Inquisition of Kozilek. Cost 1 black. Target player reveals their hand. You choose a non-land card with converted mana cost 3 or less. That player discards that card. That's it. Save those. Alright. And a Wandering Archaic. And I'm not sure if that's how you actually pronounce it. Costs 5 generic. Whenever an opponent casts an instant or sorcery spell, they may pay 2. If they don't, you may copy that spell. You may choose new targets for the copy. And then we gotta explore the vast lands. Costs 3 generic. Each player looks at the top 5 cards of their library, reveals a land card and or instant sorcery card from among them, and puts the cards they revealed this way into their hand, and the rest on the bottom of their library in a random order. Each player gains 3 life. Strategic planning. Alright. Oh, that shouldn't be here. That should be over here. Alright. Not very many mythics so far. Basic Conjuring. Costs 3, generic and 2 green. Look at the top 6 cards of your library. Reveal a creature card from among them. Put it in your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. Gain 3 life. And we got a Verbal Warsinger. Costs 3, generic, a red and white. Vigilance, trample. When it deals combat damage to a player, you may return target creature card with mana value X or less from your graveyard to the battlefield, where X is the amount of damage vulnerable Warsinger dealt to that player. Furiate. Alright, come on, open please. There we go. Common lesson. And we got Galazeth Prismari. Cost 4, 2 generic, a blue and a red, flying. When it enters the battlefield, create a treasure token. Artifacts you control add 1 mana of any color. Spend this mana only to cast instant and sorcery spells. Whirlwind Denial, and a foil Eager First Year. Alright. 2 packs left. Alright. There we go. And a rare is Gnarled Professor. Cost 4, 2 generic, 2 green, trample. When it enters the battlefield, learn. Defiant Strike. Last pack. Alright. If you guys have been enjoying the video, if you did, hit that like, share, comment, subscribe. Alright, and we got another common lesson. And a rare is a Frostboil Snarl. Enters the battlefield, reveal an island or mountain from your hand. If you don't, it enters tap. Taps blue and red. And a Natural Order. Costs 4, 2 generic and 2 green. It's an additional cost to cast this spell. Sacrifice a green creature. Search your library for a green creature card. Put it into the battlefield, then shuffle. Alright. Well, I wish you guys good luck in your openings, and we'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.